he obviously likes her, and what I think is cool is everybody's expecting there to be like, you know, oh, you know, MJ goes through this makeover and now she's the popular girl and now Peter likes her, and that's not what happens here. Is really, you know, Peter likes her for exactly who she is and all the little quirks and the weird things that make her MJ, and he likes that. So I think it's cooler that way, you know? I think it just proves that, like, you know, if you're meant to be with someone, you're meant to be with them. In the first movie, like, I didn't really, obviously have too much to work with, but we kind of created a very distinct character with those few little moments, and now we're just able to expand on that and just learn more about her, you know, because we don't really know about her. She's kind of mysterious and just kind of in the background, so we just kind of get to see more sides of her character and how she responds in situations that make her be a little bit more vulnerable, and how her and Peter, you know, connect. Him and Jacob, you know, they're just like so locked into their characters. In many ways, I think they are their characters, you know? And so it's funny because neither of them really have to look at their lines. Because I don't know, they're just so funny going back and forth off of each other. They can like look at their lines once and just like go back and forth, and they can stutter and have fun and make up lines and all this kind of stuff because it works for their characters. Me, on the other hand, I can't. I would freak out and have a panic attack if I don't know my lines, like word perfect. And then also, my character like is so like sure on everything she says that I can't kind of like go off and, you know, do these things. Like the whole point of it is that she never makes a mistake on anything, really. She just kind of knows what she's gonna say before she says it. A lot of the scenes where we're, you know, running from things or, you know, crazy stuff is going down, there's a lot of really cool location shots that we were able to do. So it's, I mean, it's pretty cool to be like running like away from like, and really being able to see the scenery of like the Tower of London and the Tower Bridge, and like it's really there because I'm really here, you know. I don't know, it's just kind of like being able to be in the real spaces, like real time, is really fun. Just knowing all the crazy things that are gonna happen. There's like literally like so many massive action scenes, and I know that, I mean, that's what we come to watch, right? If we're watching a Spider-Man movie. And I mean, they're great. And also to see them not in New York. Like, we're so used to seeing these action scenes happen kind of in the same location so many times before. But now we're like, we're in Europe seeing these things. So it's kind of like Spider-Man doing his thing in another country is like, I don't know, it's just cool, you know? It's something we've never seen before.
After the events of Infinity War and Endgame, he is a very different person. He's been through a lot, something that none of us can really relate to. And Spider-Man, to him, has become a bit of a chore. You know, he decides to sort of hang up the suit and go on holiday and enjoy his time with his friends and just be a young adult and be someone who's enjoying their life and learning who they are and finding out where they belong in the world. But throughout the course of the movie, he realizes he's already found out where he belongs, and that's in the Spider-Man suit, and that's with the responsibility of saving his neighborhood and saving the city, and in some cases, saving the world. I think he did a great job with that in Homecoming, with it being a lighthearted film, with it being a funny film, but without sacrificing the emotion or the drama that superhero films warrant, you know? And I think this film does that in a stronger way, because it's funnier than the first one, but the stakes are higher and it's more emotional, so it's bigger and better in every way possible. I loved working with Sam. I really, really enjoyed working with Sam. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, in the film, Peter Parker is very intimidated by Sam Jackson. Tom Holland might have been a little bit intimidated by Sam Jackson, but he's a lovely guy, and he was really welcoming, and we bonded over golf. We both played golf. It was just cool for me to bring Spider-Man into a bigger part of the MCU. Every time I get to do a scene with one of these veterans who have been there since the beginning, it's just really exciting because we're solidifying the fact that this character exists in a bigger world, and there's endless possibilities. Happy Hogan is one of my favorite characters from the MCU, and when I found out that he'd be coming back for Spider-Man Far From Home, I was just over the moon because I love the energy he brings to the films. And everyone says Robert is the godfather of the MCU, but Favreau is like, he's the mastermind. Him and Kevin, they made the first movie and the second movie, so I loved picking his brains about that. But Happy Hogan in this film sort of has a little bit of a thing with Aunt May, which Peter isn't too sure about, but he's not mad about it either because he really likes Happy. But Happy Hogan takes on a huge responsibility throughout this film. Jacob was fantastic in the first one, but he had gone away after making Spider-Man Homecoming and made a few new films, and when he came onto set for Spider-Man Far From Home, he meant business. He was so good, and when we finished the first scene with him, everyone was blown away by how great he was, and he improvised for 2 minutes straight, and all of it was great. Because you often find when people improvise that you're like, oh, come on, mate, this is really rubbish. You're just wasting film now. And Jacob filled a clip of just gold, and I hope all of it makes the film because it was so funny, and I was in stitches behind the camera. It's always a real privilege to get to work with your friends, and even more so when you see them doing so well and you see them absolutely knocking it out of the park. So I love Jacob to bits, and I love working with him, and it's just one of the highlights of this movie. It's a few months after the events of Endgame, and I think everyone is still kind of in that denial phase of, the implication and the ramifications of what's happened. Because if you really did disappear and come back for 5 years, that's not something you get over in 5 months. And that's also not something you come to term with in 5 months. So I think at this stage, our heroes and our cast are still very much kind of a little bit taken aback by what's going on, and Peter Parker especially.
Being able to travel the world, I think, is really cool. You know, other than the fact that we've never really seen Spider-Man be able to do his thing, I think, in anywhere else really than New York. So it's really cool to kind of see that somewhere else. But also just like selfishly, us just being able to like have a good time in all these amazing, beautiful places and like shooting at these gorgeous landmarks, and like it's pretty wild.
John Watts is a director of representation. You know, if you look at our cast, it's an incredibly diverse cast, and he's representing a whole load of people. And by going to these different places, we're representing different countries. We're representing Italy and Czech Republic and England, which for me, being able to represent my own city is a real honor. Oh my goodness, yes.
Way
Definitely.
bigger. It's like it leveled up in
For sure.
I think there's like twice as many action sequences.
And
there's never a dull moment, is there?
No, there's always
never a
something
moment
going on.
like watching where you're like, oh, this could be a bit shorter. But it's amazing.
I think what's special about this time around is the first time around we didn't really get to see much of her, but she kind of has a defense mechanism, and I think that kind of hard shell that she has, and her defense mechanism is really just to be sarcastic, and sometimes it comes off mean, but she's just very like blatantly honest, which I think is actually a really wonderful quality because nobody's ever truly honest nowadays. So you know, I don't know. I think it's kind of refreshing to have people like that, but I also think that sometimes, you know, you don't really know why people put those walls up, and I think it's nice as this, you know, movie continues that through their like her romance and awkward romance with Peter, I think she kind of has to strip away her wall a little bit and be a little bit more open, and you kind of see her, I don't know, she gets gooey, and you kind of get to see that she is really just like this kind of fragile, still very young woman, and so it's, I don't know, it's just nice to see different sides of her, while also kind of still staying true to the character that we've created.
I think he's really like jealous, but like in a really funny way, because he really, I think what made him feel special was that he was the only one that knew.
Yeah.
And like he kind of thinks it was something that's been taken away from him. But I'm pretty sure he doesn't hate MJ. I mean, like, they all love each other, so I don't think there's any way that he'd, like...
Yeah, it seems like when you guys were on the bus and you did the FOS thing, that, like, you guys,
had a moment.
You guys have become a team.
Yeah, it wasn't
He
like...
accepted it.
Yeah, it wasn't like, no, like, I don't want you a part of this, so...
If you had to bring in one more cast member to the FOS group, who would it be?
I don't know, man. I feel like the obvious answer would be, like, Tony.
I think Zach would be a
But
good
Zach
to
would be
bring
like...
in.
Zach would probably kill the game, you know?
Yeah, Zach would be
know
really
what's
good to bring in.
Yeah, so, not Tony,
Yeah.
but Zach.
He wants to try and escape the responsibility of being Spider-Man, but unfortunately, the responsibility of being the friendly neighborhood superhero is not one you can run away from. So in this film, you'll see him learn and grow and realize that he has to step up, and this responsibility is bigger than just his vacation. So he grows up a lot in this film and takes on the mantle of an Avenger for the first time, really.